this
I don't know why, but you are watching the Madness Comic Network. Are you mental?
Oh, yeah. Hey, everybody.
Hello.
To Les's show.
Hello, y'all.
This is Les's show. I got a very quick question for you, Rich.
Yes.
We haven't even introduced Rich yet. Slow
I know, and you're already hitting
down.
Slow your roll, Charlie.
Jeez.
Okay, after the
That
introduction.
excited to speak with you.
Allow Les to run his show.
Yeah.
We'll get to you.
Hi, Les.
Yeah, I was like, well, hell, I'll just keep drawing.
Yeah. I just got a...
Get to work, you lazy bum.
Oh, wow. Well, I got a quick question for you, Rich.
Well, before you get into that, everybody, welcome to another week of Comic Artist Hour. I'm Les Garner, my partner in crime and guy who I kind of want to like give noogies to on a regular basis is Charles, and of course Pops is here today. We got with us another partner in crime of mine, Mr. Rich Davis. So Rich, known for a handful of books that he's got out there, the Cult of Dracula, the whole World of Dracula series. So, which I've had a finger or two in some of that. And anyway, right now, Rich and I have a thing happening called Angel Hunter, which I'm actually working on a digital painting for some stuff from that right now. And
I got a question for you about that.
Okay.
I got a question for you about that.
Oh, Lord.
Are you paying Jeffrey Haas? Are you paying Jeffrey Haas to promote that in my group?
I am.
You know, I promote it in my group for free. I'm just saying. You know, you ain't got to pay nobody to promote the madness, bro. You know
Jeff is booking me on all kinds of podcasts because, I'm a guy, I don't have a lot of time, and so I am more than happy to hire people to do things that I don't have time to do. And
I always give Jeff a hard time. Look, I always give Mr. Haas a hard time because everybody that he comes to me and says, "Hey man, can I get so and so on your show?" I'm like, he can call me.
You know what that means? This is the perfect time for my question.
Yeah.
Rich, is it true? Are you rich? You hire all these people. All right.
God.
But in all seriousness, to get back to it, what guided you into the realm of comics? I mean, I'd like to hear about your past if you're willing to share. And Les, feel free to ask any questions you want.
Rich is just here for the bitches and blow.
Oh,
We work together. So I'm gonna rag on him a little bit.
He just knows everything already.
but you know, why comics? You know, why not be a builder of buildings, like an architect and an engineer? You know, or
I am terrible when it comes to drawing things. I think Les has seen a couple of my terrible stick figures.
I've tried to unsee it.
I sent one to Lucio Perillo once. He was doing a cover for Cult of Dracula, and I was trying to convey to him what I wanted. And of course, you know, he's not a native English speaker, so there was a little bit of difficulty. And Lucio's like, "Can you just draw it for me?" And I'm like, "I can."
oh my God.
And he was like, "Oh no, dude, it can't be that bad. Just, you know, sketch it out, you know, stick figures." I'm like, "Okay." And so I drew it out. You know, I put the characters where I wanted them, and you know, they all had, you know, 2 arms and 2 legs and better feet than Rob Liefeld can draw.
Wow. I'm proud of you.
And I sent that over to Lucio, and so we're on Facebook Messenger. You know, the little dots come up. You know, it was
Wait. Who's Lucio? What do they do?
Lucio Perillo. He's a pretty big cover artist. Does a ton of stuff for Dynamite, Marvel, DC. Great guy. One of my favorite cover artists, actually. He and his now wife Carla Cohen. But those little dots, they stayed there for like, I don't know, probably 5 minutes, and then all I got was, "Oh." So that's how bad my drawing is. So that right there is why I am not an architect. But what got me into comics?
Yes. I'm curious about your past because it is so lush and vibrant, and I think the audience would be very fascinated with your evolution to where you're at now.
Yeah, I've done a little bit of everything. You know, my going to college guy who went through the catalog and was like, "Oh, 400 level Japanese history? That sounds fun. Sure."
He got tired of all the chafing from doing porn.
Yeah. Little person porn's no fun.
Oh boy, I know some people would be terrified of that.
Oh my God.
Yeah, my background is primarily from the world of film and theater. I owned a theater, was the artistic director at the Browncoat Pub and Theater for 10 years.
Oh, that's cool.
I told you porn.
Shh, that was the film.
Sorry.
And we're not supposed to talk about that. It's only available.
It's okay, Rich. We all know you were a fluffer.
No. Oh my God. On a side note, my other business partner on board games is actually designing.
I'm mildly delirious. I'm
Okay.
doing a lot of like hardcore intermittent fasting right now, so I haven't had physical food in nearly 24 hours.
Oh boy. Welcome to the real world. A friend of mine has actually bought the domain name and has made a game called Adult Filmmaking, and the name of the site is Fluffer University, and he's developing swag for it.
Freaking genius.
Good old FU. Hey,
Yes. Hey, but let's get back to the seriousness because this is quite fascinating.
Alma mater.
Oh God! Oh my God!
Okay, back to me. So, owned a theater, worked in film. I was a playwright. I wrote lots of plays.
Wow.
I did some screenplay work, mostly script doctoring. People would give me their scripts. I would fix them when they ran into plot problems.
Okay.
So I wrote a play at the time. It was called Dracula Reimagined. And we performed at the Brown Coat, 30 consecutive sellout shows. It was nominated for several North Carolina theater awards. I won quite a few for it. And by happenstance, Tony Todd was in Wilmington filming at Screen Gem Studios, and he happened to come see the show one night. And after it was over, he hung around at the bar because my theater had a bar attached to it. He hung around for a while, and of course, I was absolutely going to talk to Tony Todd.
Oh, God.
And Tony was like, Rich, I just want to tell you, I think you got something with this script, and you don't need to let it go. And so he and I, we talked. He and I became very good friends. He would come to my house, hang out when he was in town. I've been to visit him. It was a really great guy.
Okay.
He was very encouraging. So we started working on a screenplay with the intention of doing it as a micro budget independent film, $250,000 or less budget.
Still a lot.
Yeah, when you go to think about it, that's still quite a bit. But
What's your name?
Yeah. But my wife Amber became sick with kidney disease, and I had to give up the film. Amber, so I actually deleted the screenplay. I was like, I'm done. I can't do this. I've got to focus on her. She got so pissed at me, man. I mean, so pissed. And she had a copy that I had sent her, because she was kind of like my editor, I guess.
Yeah.
And so she sent it back to me and made me pick it up. And she was like, I understand we can't do a film. We just don't have the time or the resources right now to do a film. But why don't you try to do it as a comic book? Because writing a screenplay is very similar to writing a comic book script, at least the way I write. And so I was like, okay, let me look into how I could do that. I happen to have Georges Genti was a friend of mine, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. He's doing Star Wars right now. Met him through Dragon Con. We became friends. And so I talked to him about, what do I need to do? How do I do this? And Georges was a huge help. He gave me a lot of advice. He connected me with Henry Martinez, who became the artist for Cult of Dracula. And so I just hired an artist, hired a colorist, hired a letterer, made a huge mistake on the letterer the first time because I tried to save money there. And hired a kid straight out of grad school.
Poor guy.
Yeah. And there's nothing, he's working now.
Yeah.
But there was nothing wrong with what he did. It was just, he made, I guess, rookie mistakes.
Yeah.
And so once I got the finished, I made a prototype of the book, if you will, issue 1. I put it in front of Joe Pruitt from Aftershock Comics. And he pointed out the rookie mistakes that were made in the letterers. And he told me, go hire a real letterer and bring this back to me.
Yeah.
So I did. Aftershock ended up passing on it. But that same day, I got a call from Second Sight Studios, and they had got the book, and they wanted it to be their very first book.
Wow.
So Cult of Dracula was the first book Second Sight ever put out.
Yeah.
And it exploded. We sold 10,000 units of Cult of Dracula #1 through Second Sight, and Second Sight couldn't afford to print issue 2. It was no fault of their own. Nobody expected the book to do what it did, and they didn't have the distribution. They weren't set up. Pre-orders for issue 2 were coming in. They were super high. So Second Sight thankfully realized they couldn't do it, and they connected me with Source Point Press. Source Point Press picked it up. They fulfilled all the orders for issue 2, and then they went and printed. They reprinted issue 1, reprinted issue 2, and then took it from there. And after that, the books just kept selling, and Cult of Dracula got optioned for a television series, which is actually how I made money on the book. They just kept letting me write stories. So I was able to adapt my skills from playwriting and screenwriting into writing comic book scripts. And here I am. I've got 4 complete series on the shelves. Hopefully they're going to keep letting me write more.
Here's what's really fascinating, I find, in the story. The next point type thing is how your love, Amber, not only watched your back in a way that you couldn't imagine, but because of what you've done with this project, you've also helped to make her efforts and her love for you immortal by doing this. And it's kind of ironic, the title of it, which I just find fascinating. Yeah. But I know that you've done more than just the theater, just the one comic. How did you end up meeting the great, brilliant Lord Garner?
So that was a really cool, funny story.
Yes.
So Les, I don't remember what retailer you did the cover for, but he did a retailer exclusive for Culture.
I was going to say, man, it's back in the porno days, and he was a real good fluffer, so we just started rolling him out.
Well, yeah, but you didn't like me back then. You were a really big hit.
Does he know the fluffy experience?
Shit, bro.
Wow.
I'm sorry. We're too good of friends for me not to.
Oh my God.
We'll spicy.
Rich. We probably should have a different name for Les. It's just call him Dick, right?
No, we go by my old screen name of Lance Goodthrust.
Whoa. That's so cool. So cool.
Your career in gay porn is probably not worth discussing here.
Oh.
Hey, bitch gotta eat.
There's so many innuendos with that one. I'm going to drink some grape juice so I don't have a Jody attack.
My favorite movie is Less is More.
Oh, my God.
Oh, man.
So,
good time.
Anyway, Les did this cover for one of the retailers. There were like 52 retailer exclusive covers for Cult of Dracula #1.
Okay.
Which I've never gotten a copy of. And
the
only place I found where I could buy a copy was $250.
Rich, get him a
copy of that one, or I'd give you one.
You know what? Figure it out. Just take it from your personal copy and get a new one eventually. Never.
Yeah, I wish I had. I don't even have one. I didn't get comps of those exclusives either.
Really?
Comic Mint was really good. They sent me theirs. Frosty Bug Comics was good. They sent me theirs. Bearded Brown Coat, they sent me some of theirs, but most of the exclusives I didn't get copies of, and what I was told is they were selling them for too much money, so they didn't even give me any free ones.
Damn, that's a bunch of lowlives. I mean,
yeah, that was something I'm still not happy with.
That's called bogus.
Yeah.
Okay, but back to your fluffing magic.
Yes. So I guess the retailer bought the original art from Les, and somehow that original art got shipped to me.
Yep.
And so I was thinking like, oh, wow, this artist was being really cool, and he sent me the original art. Well, I was disappointed when Les reached out to me, and he was like, hey, dude, that was supposed to you got this art, and it was supposed to go to blah, blah, blah. Can you ship it back? And so, yeah, we got it back. I think I shipped it back to Garrett Gunn, and Garrett got it over to the retailer.
Garrett, when Garrett and I were talking about it, I was like, dude, I need to send this off. I was like, who do I send it to? And he's like, oh, let me get you Rich's address. And he gave me your address. And so I was like, okay. And that was that.
It was great art, too, by the way. I loved it.
You fell in love. Your second love.
Yeah, and then after that, Les and I, we just started talking, became friends, hit it off. And Les, you have worked on every single book that I have put out in one way or another, either as a cover artist, illustrator, did covers and backup inks for Prometheus and Chains. And of course, now we're doing Angel Hunter together. It's a co-creation, mine and Les's book. We've been over the years, we've developed that relationship where we can create something together and feel like hell about it, and piss each other off, and still love each other and laugh and make porn jokes. Pretty much. Create an absolutely beautiful.
This is a clean Christian show, so I don't know where you're at, Rich. I'm confused. No, but in all seriousness, so often you've done a horror, and then we're going to get deep. I'd like to do a deep dive into Angel Hunter. But what was your attraction to horror? And your horror is a bit more insightful instead of it just being, hello, I hack things apart, blah, blah. But they seem to get into the heads of the characters. I mean, the writing is brilliant. A lot of work definitely goes into it from what I could see.
Yeah, I probably put too much thought and work into it. I don't write it.
Overthink it. I love Rich, but I'm always pushing him. I'm like, dude, stop overthinking it. Just, it's like, cut to the chase. Let's get this out the door.
Yeah. Les one time called me the most artsy fartsy writer he's ever worked with.
Yep.
Yeah, but usually those are the ones who become your name.
I hope so. I really hope so. And I really
completely broke.
I think we've got something special with Angel Hunter here. Honestly,
yeah.
I feel the same way about Angel Hunter that I felt about Cult of Dracula. You got something in the back of your head that just says you've got something here. And
what was like the motivations, the aha, the like stream of consciousness, or why Angel Hunter? Oh my God, I'm now thinking of porn titles.
Yeah, it would be. I really hope somebody someday does a porn parody of Angel Hunter.
Demon Slayer was already taken, so
wow.
So again, as a lot of things in my life do, it came by kind of by happenstance. I had just finished writing Reign of Dracula issue 2, which Les drew.
That was a beautiful book, by the way. Both
yes, it is.
Written and drawn, and I'm looking forward to getting my publishing copy someday.
I finally got my copies of that too.
Well, send me one. I haven't even gotten one yet.
Yeah, I finally got my copies of that.
It kind of sucks. As the writer, I'm the last one to get paid, and I'm the last one to get copies of the damn book.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm a weird publisher because I tend to pay people in advance.
I want to work for you because I end up paying people in advance.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
So yeah, it happened kind of by accident. I just finished Reign of Dracula issue 2, and I was finding myself having a really hard time wanting to get back to writing Reign of Dracula. I don't know what it was. I was just like, I've been doing this for 4 years. And I'd also just finished writing Prometheus in Chains, which was the most difficult, painful, and emotional book I've ever written. And it took a lot out of me, and I wanted to get out of that world a little bit. So I'd been watching a lot of anime.
Oh my God.
And I watched this show called Goblin Slayer.
Okay.
And so I had this idea, I'm just going to write this on a lark. It was a thing I was going to do, just a little short story just to break out of horror for a minute, and then it would allow me to get back into horror. I just need to get something else out. So I sat down and I wrote this little, 4-6 page script. And it was about these three heroes with no names going into a cave, and they were going to thwart this ritual by the demon lord Moloch. And Moloch was, ripping Nephilim babies out of women's stomachs. They'd been forced to breed with the angels. But it was also very, very funny. It was very lighthearted in a way.
Hey, open, full, and shut.
And, I just had so much fun writing that. And I sent it over to Les, and I was like, what do you think of this? Could you make how many pages could you make out of it? And we started talking about it, and I was like, I really
I
like
think my first reaction was probably however many pages you pay me for.
Yeah, I think that's actually what you said.
Yeah.
That's usually what I will say to stuff like that.
When it comes to that.
I'm like, I understand. I am fully consciously aware that I am incredibly mercenary.
Yes,
So-
you are. You are, and I love it. Because I'm one thing Les and I really do share in common that a lot of people in this industry don't, not knocking anybody, but we are both hardcore capitalists. We like making money. So yeah, Les.
True. I'm just nice about it.
I've said shit to people many times. I'm like, do you think I'm doing this for my damn health?
No, dude, you
I think
gotta
I'm
go. Definitely not for your health, unless you want to have bad health.
I've told people before. I'm like, well, that book ain't going to draw itself for free.
That's true. Not until AI gets better.
Oh, okay. So it started out as just a concept, a couple of pages, demons ripping out babies that mated with angels or fallen angels.
Fallen angels.
Okay, fallen angels. Okay.
Yeah. So the basic premise of Angel Hunter, it's a seinen manga inspired dark fantasy told in the American comic book style about humanity's first strides after being expelled from Eden. Ooh. And humans have to claw out an existence in a world dominated by the 13 fallen angels and an army of kaiju Nephilim.
Oh my God, that's cool.
Yeah, I hope so. Again, with Les's art, and I hope my story lives up to the artwork. But I think we've got something really special.
I think it does, because I've been privy to it. And also thank you for reaching out for the lettering at the time. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to take it. And I hope that my references helped you out with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we found a letterer. She's young, but she's done some stuff. She's actually done some manga, which was a huge help.
Right.
Because this is while it's not a manga, it is inspired by manga. So having someone who is familiar with how mangas are lettered was a big.
If it does well enough, I think we should absolutely flip all the pages.
Yeah,
and just get back. Oh, I love
translation.
We should make that a stretch goal.
Right. The little animated corners like Circus and Mad Magazine.
Yeah.
By the way, real quick, Lark Park says hello to everybody. John Eppel says money is a good thing, especially when you can make it following your dream.
Amen, brother.
And Madness Entertainment Group just says, hey, Grey Wolf, John Eppel, which is kind of nice. And just real quick, if you go to themeg.tv, there are booking, sponsorship opportunities, and the great store. So check out those things. And I think that would be really good for everybody involved to check that out real quick.
That's the place right there.
Hey, right over there, a little quick sponsorship. And what's been really great, and this is like the perfect time you're getting involved too, or jumping on, Rich, is how this has been growing, that's growing, you're growing. And the manga is such a hey, did we lose Les?
Oh no, we can't lose him.
Yeah. Oh well.
He's like the guy. He's important here.
Right.
Oh shit. What happened to Les? Did he hit a button?
I don't know.
He hit a button. Or he is way out in the sticks in Kentucky, so
oh boy.
There's electricity or something.
There's no button hitting. You can't hit buttons for your life. That's why it's always good to have a producer.
No.
Some of our shows have Cosmic Grandpa is the producer.
Real quick, a little fun background. I'm good friends with Doug Rice, and Doug Rice is considered the father of American manga mecha comics for doing Yellow Joe, being the first one to do that. But he also was very influential in getting a anime club started that helped to bring anime into Chicago, helped to bring it into America. And the thing that I just found fascinating with yours, and behind me I have a kaiju cat, a kaiju Yeah. But, what was it about the anime genre and being centered in that for the storytelling that outside of watching that one show that, here you have the way that you frame it, you pace it, that has the American style, which was your books, which have been expert books. But what was it about the manga books that, I want mine to be like a manga, but with the American flair? I mean, what was that critical point, that critical mass?
I'm probably going to get in trouble for saying this, but I was tired of books that had no stakes, where nothing mattered. And that's what's happening in American comics. I mean, we look at it. So today's Wednesday, New Comic Book Day. Amazing Spider-Man 59 comes out. Spider-Man is dead. Now, in 2 months, we've got a new Amazing Spider-Man #1 coming out, and
right.
Peter's back to being his
and he's Daredevil reborn.
Yes.
And that just happens in American comics. I mean, last year, Ms. Marvel, the death of Ms. Marvel. They've been
doing this to us forever. They've been doing it to us forever. Killing them, bringing them back to life. Killing them, bringing them back to life.
Apparently, workers trimming the trees on Les's property caused a power loss.
I kind of figured that's what happened. Some kind of
he usually could use his phone if he thinks about it, but I don't think he's going to think about it. The poor guy.
Okay, now we can talk shit about him, though.
All right.
But manga was it's the complete opposite of that. I mean, okay, so Dragon Ball, that's a little bit of an outlier. It's an exception that proves the rule. Characters do come back to life, but there's a purpose for it. It's not just we want to reboot and sell more books. But in manga, when a character dies, they're dead.
Correct.
And manga allows their characters to grow up. It's a very common thing in manga. You'll meet your protagonists as children. They'll grow into teenagers, young adults, senior citizens. They'll have kids, and they pass the torch. And things matter. What happens in the books matters.
That's what's quite fascinating, about that.
And it just really impressed me. And, I was like, wow, this is an amazing way of telling a story. And I found that I identified and bonded and fell in love with these characters way more than I ever had with an American comic.
Wow.
I thought I loved Peter Parker.
Yeah.
I didn't realize what love for a character could be until I watched and read Naruto.
Right.
And not only do I love Naruto, I love Gaara. I love Rock Lee. I love these characters because they have such depth.
Yeah.
They grow, they learn, they develop. Their actions have real consequences.
Oh yeah.
And the story just continues to evolve, and this world continues to evolve. And after 700-800 episodes of the show, and I don't know how many issues of the manga, but they haven't gone back and rebooted it once,
right?
And
which is just uninspired.
Spider-Man's been rebooted 9 times in the last 6 years.
Oh yeah,
it's ridiculous.
You got the thing I've noticed, and this is just a personal feeling, is when Hollywood gets hold of a script, instead of keeping true to the canon of it, the ego, I think, of the person directing or the person writing or the person somebody else feels, their hubris is, I'll make it better. Or Superman needs to have a black suit, not those silly leotards, fighting a giant mechanical spider.
Everything's got to be edgy and extreme. We're back to the 90s. Everything's extreme.
Right. Which is ridiculous. And I noticed that, just reading through your script, how you're very caring, giving, and you actually treat your writing as a craft instead of, you got formulas you can do, you got ways of writing, and yes, you have that definitely. but you seem to put in what it feels like you've done research, heavy research, and then after the heavy research, then you work for the patterns. What works, what doesn't, what is logical, what's not logical, and when you get back, and that's probably why you're a very good script doctor. I could see where I'm reading, it's like, oh, that's going to be a corner. How are they going to get out of it? And like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, you throw that wild card out that makes sense, and it's like, that was not only an ace up his sleeve, that was a full new deck of cards.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that's very enjoyable about your writing, just on a personal note, I am just surprised that you weren't fully discovered and pulled into the full machine, but I also understand that there have been personal inconveniences and personal horrific traumas as well, which can affect you. But you're extremely good at what you do, and
I really appreciate that.
This Angel Hunter, I think is more than a gold mine. I think it's something that can keep expanding. For example, you had about 8 pages when you contacted me about lettering, and it was fun asking if I could letter it in 2 weeks. Charles, can you letter 96 pages in 2 weeks? But the thing is, you put out 92 pages of amazing, brilliant content. And I want to hear about that. Tell us about your process. Pretend that I'm a writing student and I want to learn your craft or your style, or give us the style guide. Talk.
Okay. So everything begins with a sentence. It's, what is this? What is the very simple beginning jumping on point of this book about? And so, it started 13 fallen angels, humans struggling to find their place. And from there it was, okay, well, I need to learn about angels. I need to learn about the war in heaven. I need to learn about Lucifer's fall. And so I start reading, and you start with the Bible because that's what we're familiar with. And I found out there's not a whole lot about the fall and the war in heaven in the Bible. So I started looking to Judaism. There's a bit more. In Islam, there's a bit more. And then you find the apocryphal texts, and I start reading those. There's a lot. And then you start reading Milton. There's a lot. So from the sentence before, just giving me the concept before I even write a single panel, I research, and I'll do weeks of research before I write a page. And 95% of what I research never shows up in the book, but I think it shows up in context because when I'm talking about like when I'm describing the wheels, which is a principality of angels or a choir of angels, when I'm describing that to Les in the script, I know what I'm talking about beyond the fact, they're wheels with eyeballs, so by having that depth of understanding about the concepts that I'm writing about, it allows me to write in a more realistic way. So once I'm to a point where the research, where I'm satisfied with it to at least write what I need to write right now, I go in and I make an outline. And it's a very basic outline. I am more of a gardener than an architect. Real quick, the difference, if you don't know, the architect is a person who maps out a complete story in rigid detail and then sticks to it. The benefit of that is the endings almost always have perfect payoffs. The drawback is sometimes the characters feel forced into doing things. The gardener, on the other hand, we do loose outlines and we allow the characters to tell us where they want to go. The benefit to that is our characters generally feel real and the things that they're doing feel like things that they would do. sometimes it's very difficult to, as Les would say, get to the fucking point. George is definitely a gardener.
Let me interrupt you for just a second.
Oh yeah, is this for Christopher Brown? Real quick, hi Christopher. Thank you for saying hello. And
hold up. Hip. When I say hold up, that means I want to say something.
Hey, I'm second in command.
Chris is the creator of Slaughterville.
Yes. Oh, finally!
For that.
Okay? Chris is the guy who made the tabletop game.
Oh my God!
The RPG that we will be starting tomorrow on the network. I sent him your info, Charles.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll do that.
You got to get with him tonight sometime and get your character set up because we're playing tomorrow. We did character creation last week.
While we're talking, I'm going to show you my. I created a barbecue sauce thing of a character.
Yes.
As I
came back.
Just like to tell Google that Chrome can eat my ass.
Woo! Are you on your phone?
After the power went out, so there's guys outside trimming trees, back in the lines.
Oh my God!
Some freaking nothing.
We can't hear you for shit, bro.
Yeah, we can't hear you for crap.
Are you sitting in front of a fan?
Check.
Your fan? You got a fan blowing or something? What?
Hold on. Hold on.
Now we can't hear you at all. So it's definitely you. You get some serious background noise. Or
yeah, Les, you sound like me.
It sounded like somebody's washing machine in the background.
Yeah.
Need some noise cancellation on that mic.
Awesome.
Anyway, while he's figuring that out, I want to talk about this real quick. Tomorrow, 11 a.m., we are starting the live RPG stream
Oh my God.
of Slaughterville. And Chris is the GM, and we got like 5 or 6 people going to play this time.
I got to join it.
Last time, we only had 3 people playing. 2 of those people's characters took on a life of their own. They actually host a show on the network now.
Oh my God.
You never know what's going to happen in Slaughterville, guys. You don't know. Your character might end up taking on a life of its own and moving beyond an RPG.
Oh, wow.
You see? That's what happened to me.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
But also some other new things will be coming with the VLC, Charles. We're going to talk to you about that on the side. Villains, locations, and characters, I think is what VLC stands for. Look at that. It's Dante. It's me. It's Dante and Karen right there. They are part now of the tabletop game because they played the RPG.
Nice.
See what I'm saying? Now it's like his whole universe: novels, graphic novels, tabletop game, and RPG, and it all intertwines. All the characters can intertwine with all the different stuff. It's a universe, guys.
You guys hear me yet?
Yeah.
That's better. Yeah, that's better, Les. But yeah, it's a universe in one place, guys. Slaughterville. Go check it out.
The best place to eat candy.
He's also launching another game tomorrow morning before the RPG called Escargot.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
It was actually they played it last night on the Geekmen show. They played it yesterday afternoon with the kids, and the kids played it and loved it. Escargot launching snails tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. in the morning because Backer Kit sucks. Okay, Backer Kit. That's when they're launching it. So we got to do a launch party at 8:30 in the morning. So yeah, we will be out here early before the RPG doing that. Then we'll be playing Slaughterville live on the network.
Okay, Pops, you've had enough airtime.
Yeah.
All right, I'm working on getting these back up here so I can share the screen.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah. Let's share screen.
Well, I'm just waiting, and but yeah, Slaughterville guys, Laughing Road Games on Facebook.
Pops is like a lady in waiting, except he's Pops.
Pops is like the MC from hell.
Yeah.
He's gonna tell you what he's got to say.
Okay.
Best to just listen, get it out, let him get it out, and then he shuts it
Yes,
out.
sir. You realize it's your show, sir.
No, it's less a show, but he ain't quite ready yet. So I took over.
I know.
Going back to what Chris said, it made me laugh about definitely being on an FBI watch list for the things that he researched.
Yeah.
Brother, I'm right there with you. It made me think
Okay,
of,
Pops. I had to switch over to that stupid ass Microsoft Edge, so I don't have any of the tools down here that I need.
Oh no. Does that mean you're edging?
Bite me, Charles.
That's why you got kicked off of Less is More.
Yes. What?
There we go.
We just kick him
Now
off
I
when he
got-
gets out of
Now I
line.
got
What do you
some
think,
stuff up
Liz?
here to show. So
There
there
we
we
go.
go.
All right.
Sorry, guys. That royally pissed me off because I literally went out and asked these numbnuts. I'm like, hey, can you guys not do that right now? Can you wait a half an hour? When will you be done? And that was a half hour before. I asked them if they'd be done like in a half an hour before the show. And they're like, yeah, we'll be done. Yeah, they were done here, but not next door.
Of course.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
That's for you, Charles. That one right there.
Nice.
Hey,
I'll
Les.
set up a character for you tonight.
In that one panel there, the eyes aren't big enough.
Yeah.
Bite me.
How I eat.
Why in the hell did my camera just do that?
I don't know. It's being dumb.
Focus. It's just trying to focus. It'll be okay.
I think that's the thing Les and I fought about most in doing Angel Hunter was
Hey,
the
you fought less and lived.
There we go.
verbally fought.
Oh, okay.
I
Okay.
think
Yeah,
Les would probably break my neck
From
in 2 seconds.
from
if we
4
actually-
hours away.
Uh,
I'm like, just because I've only got one arm used for right now, don't mean I forgot how to swing a baseball bat.
This one arm is like so powerful that half of the universe could be destroyed.
I believe it.
Les.
I'm convinced Les is a Terminator.
Les, them
Hey,
drivers, them
I'll
golf
tell you.
clubs, Les, them golf clubs, they got a little bit more reach and they're way lighter.
Oh no, I just go after you with a shinai, one of those bamboo swords.
Hey, Pops.
Yeah.
Put on my screen real quick. This is for Chris Brown.
Oh Lord.
I don't know if Chris is still watching, but you know,
Oh, he is.
he did say he had to go grade some papers for his students. So
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, that was for a sauce, a scorpion sauce. And I worked with this guy, and we just create all these like awful things that these women are doing to these guys. So that's his intestines. And she turned into sausages to cook to put on the great scorpion hot sauce, scorpion pepper hot sauce.
Yikes.
He talked about the barbecue, right? Barbecue pit, a human over barbecue pit. Well, there you go.
well, that's because he has a graphic novel called Cannibal Rednecks,
Ooh, I like that.
and that's they're a family in Slaughterville.
They're in Alabama, not Kentucky.
No, they're a family in Slaughterville.
Oh my God,
In
that's
Slaughterville, Alabama.
Slaughterville is every scenario of every horror film all in one town.
funny. Now,
Okay, everything, the camp by the lake, all of it. It's got it all. Okay, everything.
Okay, let's go back to Les's art. This is last of my,
I just brought up a 2-page spread that's probably
Yeah.
my favorite 2 pages of all of Angel Hunter.
I want both of you to talk about this, the process, what's going on, without giving too much. And Les, what do you like about doing a manga style? Because it's not manga-ish, it's actually a manga style. You successfully captured it. You've learned, and then I saw you change your style to adapt.
The as far as adapting artistically to it goes, part of it was actually reaching back into my little toolkit of art and interests and looking back at early Todd McFarlane and early Michael Golden.
Okay, yeah.
Because both of them, if you go back and you look at early Todd McFarlane, especially as women, and you go back and look at Michael Golden, both of them were doing what looks like anime eyes quite often.
Right.
And
Micronaut series.
And then what really, because when Rich initially asked me to do this, I was like, dude, I'm not interested in manga.
Yeah.
I just wasn't. And like I was like, it's like no. And he hounded me about it. And it happened to be around that time, my son started poking at me about he kept looking at stuff that I would do just for myself artistically. And he's like, why don't you do that in comics? And I'm like, well, because people don't want that kind of line work these days. They want all this super squeaky clean, honestly, what to me looks like a bunch of corporate slop. And I'm like, so it's like, but I'm a commercial artist. I give people what they ask for. And I was like, but left to my own devices, I draw with lots of lines. I bow at the altar of Bernie Wrightson.
You are a noodle king.
And my son was like, well, there's this manga I've got, and the artist of that manga actually cites Bernie Wrightson. And I was like, really? And he's like, yeah, it was Kintaro, I think is his name. It was the guy who did Berserk.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes.
And he hands me Berserk, and he's like, just check this out. He's like, I know you don't like manga. He's like, but and I was like, well, it's like the manga that I normally see when I walk into the bookstore, which is the only, like, the comic shops that I go to have only recently started carrying a lot of manga. So, like, most of the time, the manga that I've been exposed to honestly looks like teen drama dribble.
A pedo's fodder.
And I'm just like, no, thank you. Teen drama dribble with these, like, pastel colored covers. And I'm just like, nope, that's hard pass.
Yep.
And he pulls out Berserk. And he's like, just check this out. Because I like some anime. There's, very select anime. I like, like Vampire Hunter D.
Yes.
Vampire Hunter D. And
Akira.
God, it's terrible, but I love Urata Kadoshi. So, Urata Kadoshi is terrible and awful in its content, but it's so wild you can't not love it.
Yeah.
And I actually worked for a time doing. I was doing technical direction, building 3D models of translating designs into 3D models and rigging for animators of pieces from a guy named Yasuki Nirasawa. And
right.
Nira was one of the character designers for Go Nagai on Devil Man and Devil Girl and Devil Woman.
Wow.
So it's like, so there's this weird, and the folks that I worked with back then on that stuff were linked to Kodansha. So like, I've actually been in the business side of the manga world far more than I've ever looked at a single manga. And there's models and things that I've done, 3D models that artists used for creating manga on a series called Dominator that published by Kodansha in Japan 20-some years ago.
Well, that's you got Shonen and then Shoujo comics. Mm-hmm. And Shoujo are basically boy comics. And Marvel, before they went weird, their comics were boy comics. It was boy soap opera, boy drama with all the superhero and the fights. And this is a perfect shoujo comic. Not the girl type like, oh, can I get a piece of bread and what is good cook?
The chicks in Angel Hunter are baller.
Yes.
My son introduced me to Berserk.
Yeah.
And I was hooked. I was like, okay, Berserk's the shit. And it was about the same time that he also introduced me to Junji Ito.
Oh, yeah.
God, I love Ito.
Yeah.
Scares the shit out.
and his whole point to me was, yeah, Dad, the manga you're seeing is not good manga.
Right.
And he like shows me this stuff, and I'm like, oh, okay. And this was about the time that we started talking about Angel Hunter, and I was like, maybe. I was like, maybe, you know, I'm like,
and that's all I needed was a maybe.
It was just a little, it was just, you know, it's just because, and really it was because of Berserk. Because when I looked at Berserk and I was like, okay. I was like, I can play in this sandbox.
Right.
Like, this I can work with. And, you know, it took me a minute to kind of get my my manga legs under me. And it's weird because I'm at a point now where like I can switch back and forth. You know, it's like, oh, I'm doing manga here. Okay. And it's like I've taught myself a set of rules for how I do manga.
Good.
And there it is. You know, it's like, oh, these things are different. Do this differently here, this differently here, these little things. But then there's a lot of stuff. I mean, like if you look at this 2-page spread here, it's definitely manga. But then if you're familiar with my other work, it's definitely me. You know, and that's something that I also wanted to make sure of because, like I said, I'm a commercial artist. You know, it's like I can be a damn chameleon if I need to, but on comics, I don't want to. It's like I'm trying to build, you know, a following for me, you know, for my work. And
what's impressive with what you've done here is you definitely have the feel of the Japanese style manga, not the Americanized manga, even though you're American and whatnot. But you're not copying either. You've created your own unique style, which will allow you to stand out, which again, with you two, the marriage of your brilliant writing, the marriage of your glorious, over-the-top, manly art. You know,
I love the panel down there with God, what's her name again? The dark-haired chick.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me look at that. Oh, that's Saoirse.
Saoirse.
I like right there. I straight channeled Junji Ito stuff for those skulls and everything.
Oh, you you did. Yeah, you did.
Yeah, your girls are like anime hot, which means guys want to date them, and they will make sites about that. I've got tentacles in there, so it makes
in the course of working on it, one of the things I found, as I learned more about manga, I started to realize that at least in good manga, or in the manga that I'm interested in, I should say, tends to have it dispenses with a lot of guardrails that American comics are bound to for absolutely synthetic purposes.
Right.
So, you know, and it really, like, I could go and read a manga and I come away from it going, you know, this is kind of like the books that I make. This is kind of like the books that I want to make because there's no bullshit in it. You know, it's just here's a good story. There's none of the BS. There's none of the agendas and crap like that. And that's given the last 20 years of American comics, that's like one of the most refreshing things you can run across.
Agreed. I have a wrap-up question for both of you.
Well, since I got cut off, I don't care if we go over a little bit.
Okay.
I've got, I mean, if as long as possible, cool.
That's fine then. Rich.
Yes, sir.
What has been the most rewarding thing working on this project? Obviously, it's when it sells and things like that, but the creative process, what has been the most rewarding on it? And then I have the same one for you, Les.
Giving me shit.
Probably.
He's like, time for a prostate exam. Oh, wait.
All right.
Wait,
anyway, you can answer the question seriously. I couldn't resist.
You know, so I think the most rewarding thing for me was showing that I could do this, that I could tell a story outside of the horror genre. that I could do something different. And, I think every creator has imposter syndrome. We don't belong.
Really?
We're one bad book away from, flipping burgers at McDonald's, and so, Les, he's been really good about this by, calling my bullshit and keeping me within the guardrails. My imposter syndrome has been really bad with Angel Hunter, because I've been I don't know. I was worried that it wasn't good enough, that I wasn't good enough to write this.
Just like yourself more. It'll make it easier.
Yeah. And, and so just seeing it come to life, seeing Wes's art, seeing Annie's letters, and seeing how the story's flowing, it's been a relief and a very rewarding feeling to see this done, to see that I'm not just a hack horror writer. I can do other things. So yeah, that's been the most rewarding aspect of creating Angel Hunter with Les.
Wow.
I just switched over to a 2-page spread. It's funny because actually my favorite character to draw in the whole thing is only in it for like 3 pages.
Wow. Don't worry, she'll come back.
I didn't have her designed until I got to her pages.
That's impressive.
Like almost everything else in it was designed up front and locked in and went through all the rigmarole of that. But her.
Yeah.
And I think I had Rich nervous because I kept saying over and over, because I'm a pretty busy dude. And he'd say, "You got any drawings of Morgan, the Morrigan?" I'm like, "No, I'll get to it. I'll get to it." And then the first time he saw it was when she pops up on a page.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I kept saying, I'm like, yeah, I know what she's going to look like. Just, we'll get there. Trust me, we'll get there.
Yeah. And you had no fucking idea.
No, actually I did. I knew exactly what I was going to do. I knew because again, the anime stuff and working, she's a little bit of a nod to my friend Nira, Nirasawa, who is no longer with us. He passed away about, God, it's been 10 years now. It's like two of the dudes that I worked with for the better part of 13 years who were in that world are both passed away. But I know Nira always loved doing the head wings stuff, the wings coming off the head in the Devil Man stuff. So that was kind of a little nod to Nira.
That I noticed that right away. I also can hear Rob Zombie right now.
Hey, maybe Rob Zombie will direct the anime adaptation of this.
Oh my God,
dude,
that'd be hysterical,
man. But yeah, that was I really enjoyed that character.
Yeah,
and I remember like by the big spread here that has her on it. I was like, man, it's like need to do more of that character.
I'll send you the outline for volume 2. She's going to be playing a big role. Don't worry.
Wow,
she ain't going nowhere.
That's great.
The little demon chick was fun too. That's another one that I literally just designed on page.
The one in black.
Yeah.
Hey, now you can finally draw Kremen.
I owe Charles a book, Rich. There's a book Charles put out a long time ago called Kremen. He's wanting to do another issue of, and I'm supposed to draw it, and I owe him an issue of Kremen. So,
yeah.
Whenever I can clear up about a 4-day window, I'll get that knocked out for you.
Yeah, that'll be amazing. Rich, I understand that you're mining for emails or people.
Yes.
You got a Kickstarter that's going on, or
yeah. So this will be the first time that any of my books have gone to Kickstarter first. Normally, they go straight to comic book stores.
Right.
But that model is it's economically sustainable anymore. So we're going to Kickstarter first, and then we'll distribute to comic book stores afterward. So right now we're in the pre-launch phase. Me being who I am and Les giving me great guidance, we've had 2 months to build the pre-launch page and to build our email list and to get people interested. So April 25th is when the Kickstarter goes live. But right now you can go to our pre-launch and sign up to be notified about it. And please do that, because it's a huge help, as I understand it, with Kickstarter's algorithm. The more people you have signed up.
Excuse me. I'm sorry, guys.
But yeah, it's just it's Kickstarter Angel-Hunter. You can I put the link in the private chat if you guys want to throw that up. But yeah, please go to Kickstarter.
Throw the link, please, for people.
Please sign up for the notifications, because again, I think Les and I have something very special with Angel Hunter, and it is my goal that this project make enough money that this is what Les and I do for the next 10 years. And you know, I mean, the way this is mapped out, we're not doing floppies, we're doing volumes. The smallest volume is 96 pages, which is volume 1.
As a manga should be. Are you doing it an actual manga size? And if you need someone printing it, I can definitely help you with that.
Yes to both of those things.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is we're going to put it out in the manga size, and then we're going to have a stretch goal for printing it in the comic book trade paperback size. Okay. So when it comes to rewards for the Kickstarters, I didn't want to do a lot of little tchotchke crap. Like
That's smart. That's smart.
We wanted to get so each of the cover artists has agreed to do 10 sketches of whatever the backer wants. So that's a reward. We're going to do metal prints as rewards. We're going to do, we've got the comic book size. We've also got, we're going to do a colored version as a stretch goal.
Wow.
So I wanted to give people substantial things, and that's because, I mean, it's expensive coming up with these rewards,
Guys, just want to make sure that people know that, when it comes to Rich, everyone wins.
Yes, I hope so. But yeah, so yeah, the rewards that we're going to do on Kickstarter are going to be great. Real things that get people to want to read the book. That's really one of because we want the collectors to buy the book. I want you to crack that spine, man. Read that story.
It's falling out after so much reading.
Yeah, exactly, man. I would love it if it's all dog-eared and it's been passed around to your friends 20 times. So I really want to write comics for readers more than collectors. But we're really going to focus on substantial rewards, things that have value to them, long value.
A question about the book for the reader: is it going to be right or left oriented? Like you read from the back cover like the manga, or you read the right cover, like the Westerners.
We're going to do it initially in the American style. What was that?
Well, all the pages are designed left to right.
Okay, so it's typical reading.
But that's why I was saying earlier that it might be interesting to because I'm very conscious of my page layouts. That's like one of my big things that I focus on is my page layouts. And if your page layout doesn't work both ways, it's a bad layout. So like you could take all of this book and like the 2-page spreads, flip them. All of it, just flip them, and make sure the order is good. And also because I work out of manga, or what used to be called Manga Studio, Clip Studio Paint. Yeah, it's actually really easy to do that. To just go through and flip all of it, and reorient it for for a manga output. So yeah, I would love to see a true manga version of it where it's all flipped and re-lettered in Japanese.
Get me a copy. I could make a mock-up version that's paper for you guys to look at if you're interested. So,
oh, right on.
Yeah. Another, and this is now a selfish question, Rich. In my comic book called Whispers from the Void, I have a mad scientist. They're all women. A female mad scientist, a female ghost, a female vampire, and a female flesh construct working together. I would love to do a crossover with my construct, Project RTUX39, or known as Ruth, with your flesh construct. Ruth is a World War II weapon, and yours, of course, is Promethean Change. I'd love to develop a story of the two girls romping around and either getting along or despising each other for.
I think we could work something like that. Yeah, we could drop Elizabeth Frankenstein into into that. Let's talk about that, man. I think it'd be fun.
That'd be fun. But now you talked about 10 years. It's almost like Rick and Morty.
Yes.
With this coming to fruition, what are some of the plans? Is there anything maybe with Hollywood that might be fun? Is there any secrets you could drop a little early, which would make them less secrets? Your Kickstarter, what's going on?
So Angel Hunter is mapped out to be 10 volumes. Each volume would be the equivalent of 6 comic book issues. So I've got the entire story mapped out in this arc. And I really do. I see a lot of potential, and we've shopped it, and we've gotten some nibbles so far. The book's not out, so it's harder to shop it until it's out there. But I do have relationships with people in the film industry. I've got a great relationship with an animation studio, and I know Les has some relationships like that as well. So yes, I've designed this from the beginning to be a great story, but also an IP that can grow into other genres. Like that's why from the very beginning I've created a Bible, which is the world, the characters.
That was beautiful.
Go back, and so I would love to see it. I'd love to see it adapted into an anime.
Yeah,
I think that could work. I actually started talking to another person this week about a trading card game, or I could see it as a tabletop RPG. Yeah. Things like that. So yeah, I would like to see. I'd like to see it become a brand. Especially in the world we're in, where everything's changing. Comic books aren't exactly profitable, but they can be profitable if you have a long-term view and you have plans for taking them out. And I know Les is laughing because we've thought about this before. This is a one-time Les is being a little hippy-dippy artsy, and I'm thinking like a capitalist.
Yeah. So. Now, what I find quite fascinating is the research you had to do is very parochial. There's also a undertone of religion, I'm assuming, with it.
I was busting his chops on that stuff the whole time.
Yeah, but imagine if the Christian Coalition ended up picking this up and they ended up bringing it to the next level. I mean, I'm not trying to be political or anything, but would you mind that, or would you mind if this thing was like given to kids in Sunday schools?
Lord God, if you give the kids in Sunday school, Lord help you.
See, now, I would give this to kids in my Sunday school, and no joke, because I'm openly Christian, and I'm technically still ordained as a pastor in the church I used to go to.
Damn.
So, yeah. And I would give it to my kids.
I think that helps Les and I in this because we're both people of faith.
Okay.
And when I'm writing about a religion, you have to be very sensitive because religion is very personal to people. And I'm exploring different religions here, drawing a little bit from different things. So what I have to do when I'm writing about a religion is I have to take my own faith cap off. And I treat everything like a mythology. I treat it the same as I would treat Roman mythology or Greek mythology or Norse mythology. Because I don't want to, exactly. I don't want to offend people with this book. So I'm very delicate and very careful with that. But there's certainly religious undertones to it. I mean, it's the fallen angels. We're going to deal with that stuff, but it's not going to be, hammering, there's the one true God, and all, you're going to hell. That's not what it's about. We're pulling, there's the radiant God, and there's right now I'm calling her Mother Earth. So it's the Tiamat and Marduk mythology, that balance there.
There's a big influence of the Book of Enoch.
Okay.
A lot of stuff here.
That's amazing. Because, there was a show I watched that, has this type of mythological feel. I don't know if any of you watched it, Carnival Row. And whenever they refer to God, they say the martyr. By the martyr, and they're always saying that, and they say it without saying it, and it almost feels like this book has that type of thing where you say it without shoving it in your face.
Exactly.
It's part of the background, but the real story is the adventures and these characters just doing everything they can to live.
Exactly. That's the that's the thing here. It's this is about humanity and humanity's struggles. It's a very human story, but it's set in a world, that's literally dominated by the 13 fallen angels. Yeah. And I don't make moral judgments here. I don't write heroes. I don't write villains. I write protagonists and antagonists.
Yes. Which is just a sign of your genius.
Thank you. I leave it to the audience. And, and this is something that really inspired me with Kishimoto. Who created Naruto. He has this ability to make you absolutely hate a character into the marrow of your bones. And then 4 episodes later, he breaks your heart. You fall in love with him. And you want to give him a hug. Gaara is a great example. When you meet Gaara, you hate him. He shatters Rock Lee's leg. I yelled at my TV. I fucking hate you. And then a few episodes later, you find out that, the big betrayal where the only person he ever trusted tried to kill him. And you see him with his little teddy bear looking up and the tear. And all he says is, why? Yeah. Oh, my God. Like, I've got chills just thinking about that. And he does that with a lot of characters, except for Sasuke. You just hate Sasuke the entire time. He sucks. But, that's what I want with the characters of Angel Hunter. You could read the book and Aiden, who is the primary antagonist, you could look at it and he's a hero. Right. You could look at it and, we're looking at Go right here. And there's ways you could look at this where Go is the villain. It's all with how you interpret it and how you identify with each individual character. There's no good and evil. There's no black and white. Everything's gray. Everything is balanced. Every character who has a special power also has a deep flaw.
And the name and the perfect name for Go's enemy that you came up with, I understand it's Stop. Or am I wrong?
You're wrong.
Get back to it.
I'm running out of time myself, and I'm the only one that can shut this thing down. So, final words.
And, let me help wrap it up. By the way, incredible walking the gray line. Les, again, you are everyone. And Pops, go to commercial.
I wasn't going to do that fast. You got to give Rich a chance to tell people where they can find him. You got to make sure Les gets final words, his show.
Well, he always stops me.
Come on.
That's it. I'm turning on my dome light.
Tell everybody where they can find you, Rich.
Okay, you can find me way back in the sticks in Middle Tennessee on a mountain on top of. Oh, you meant on social media or online? Sorry.
Wherever you're trying to be found, bro.
So find me on all the socials. It's at Rich Davis Comics is me. At World of Dracula is all of my horror stuff. Follow the at Angel Hunter, Angel/Hunter page on Facebook and Instagram. That you're going to get a lot of updates about Angel Hunter. And definitely, if you do any of those other things, please go to Angel-Hunter on Kickstarter and click that notify me at launch button. You will do me a huge favor.
Yeah, I just did that. Don't tell me what to do. All right. Les, give everybody the final word.
Well, that's going to close us out for another week. And thanks, Rich, for coming on, and Charles and Pops for doing the show. Everybody, catch us back here same time next week. Let's take us out, Pops.
Peace.
Click on the tube and feel the vibe. Every show you crave right here live. Heroes and villains clash in the night. Madness Comic Network sets it right. Scroll through the list, find what you need. Epic battles and fast-paced speed. From capes to cosmic space delight. Tune in and watch your favorites ignite. On Facebook, share the thrill so grand. On X, the buzz across the land. Madness Comic Network all around. In every episode, joy is found. Uploads, they never end. Superheroes and their friends. Catch every twist and every turn. Madness Comic, you will yearn. Stay up to date with every twist. Madness Comic, don't miss a gist. From laughter to tears, every mood. Madness Comic sets the groove. Click that button and subscribe. Catch the wave and ride the tide. Join the fun, join the craze. Madness Comic brightens days. Hey! New uploads, they never end. Superheroes and their friends. Catch every twist and every turn. Madness Comic, you will yearn. Stay up to date with every twist. Madness Comic, don't miss a gist. From laughter to tears, every mood. Madness Comic sets the groove. Click that button and subscribe.